Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. So, we've talked about over the last 5 years how we're probably going to see these major attacks start to happen, and we said 14 major cities. Some people said 14 major cities. I said 17, maybe even 19 major cities are going to be like the last bastions of these people that are evil that will go into these cities and that will resist till the end. Now, I think there could be hundreds of cities initially that will have, mass attacks, right? And it will be up to the citizens of everywhere to help and support each other. And we'll probably clean up these cities pretty quickly. Of course, there's going to be casualties, there'll be problems. Now, as you guys know, having been a Navy SEAL and then having been in the CIA for 35 years of my life, I've seen a lot of this already throughout the world. And I've said it's coming to America. And it is absolutely coming to America. And in fact, with the recent assassination, and we'll just call it that because everybody's playing it off that way. So we'll just let it roll that way, especially on this channel. But after that event, there were gatherings and so forth. There was a Fox News van, and this is not getting a lot of press. I did a show yesterday, and we were talking about how these crazy people that come from colleges and all over America right now, they have an idea that they have a vision of America that most of us don't agree with, and they're going to try and push us in that direction. So Leo Zagami talked about how there was a Fox News van that had an incendiary device that was placed under it. And fortunately, that incendiary device did not go off for whatever reason, right? I would assume that the two Pakistanis that are here illegally that put that there didn't get a very good training, right? So that when that Fox News van came into where a lot of people are mourning and having a vigil for Charlie Kirk, and that Fox News van had pulled up and that incendiary device had gone off. How about that, right? So, but it didn't. So they went to where this house was, where these two gentlemen had set up this device, and I'll show you what it looks like. They were actually flying American flag upside down. It's pretty much an indicator that these guys were probably didn't like America. Now, how did they come to America? How did these two illegals come to America? So they went to this place. Bomb squad went there. They converged on the home in Magna, Utah. FBI agents, local bomb squads. They found additional explosives along with firearms, illegal narcotics, and other paraphernalia were found in the home. So they had a lot. Even in this report, they're not saying that there was actually quite a lot of explosives there. Quite a lot. All right. So we're probably going to see, like I've been saying for 5 years, and people said, "Oh, Mike, there's going to be a civil war," and I'm like, "No, it's not going to be a civil war, because the people that are going to do the violence are a small fraction of our country." Now we're we're just finding out there's going to be even less because a lot of people are waking up after Charlie Kirk, right? So this was, I think, unintended. I think the Charlie Kirk incident was to cause us to fracture and to go into this civil war type situation. Now, we are going to go into some type of semblance of one, but it won't be an overall civil war that will last, for months or years or whatever. Now, I've said that we were probably going into Christmas. I saw Christmas is probably not going to be very happy. And I've said this for almost a year now. In fact, I said it, I did my year's viewing. I said it even before this year started, that I saw the next Christmas that was coming, it was going to be, I see a lot of people not very happy because there's trauma that's going on in America. So it appears that we're moving very quickly into that environment. Now, you look at that incendiary device, was that part of the assassination? They were going to do the assassination, and then they were going to have the incendiary device and maybe other explosives and other incendiary devices that could pop up at any time, guys. Anytime. So, they're going to have that big event, I guess, in Arizona at a stadium, celebration of life for Charlie Kirk. That's where he's from, Arizona. And President Trump's going to speak there. Vice President Vance. I don't know why they got two of them together at an event that could have some activity. Maybe that will be rethought, or maybe one will show up and then one will show up later. But it has a potential high potential for a very explosive, becoming a very explosive event, right? So yeah, we have to be very, very watchful going forward. And I think that you need to have the ability to hunker down in your home, be good with your neighbors. All right. All right. If you're not good with your neighbors, you could be after things start to get crazy. So ideally you're good with your neighbors now, right? Your neighbors, like in my neighborhood, incredible people. I know I can rely on them on many different levels. And that, I think my whole town is like that. So it is, I'm in a very good town. It's, so just be aware of your surroundings, have a escape and evasion plan. All right. If things get really hot, how are you going to leave? You got a go bag. A go bag is basically you have supplies or whatever in a bag, small bag or whatever that you can throw over your shoulder and just take off, backpack, whatever. Right. And it's got, food for, maybe it'll last you. Good one is like beef jerky, and then have water, probably depending on where you live. You have a water filtration system. You can get those small ones. They're tubular, and they're priced all kind of different ways. So maybe some simple medical supplies, some pow. You need to have pow-pows, right? If you don't have pow-pows, you should get something, right? And you should know how to use it. Don't get a pow-pow and you know how to use it. You'll probably, people that know how to use pow-pows usually get those pow-pows used against them. Right? Somebody takes it away from them and uses it against them. So, yes, and ammo, of course, Lenny. Yes, extra ammo, right? Because you never know. You might go into a situation where you have to pow-pow a lot, right? For me, pow-powing a lot is like, I get lots of targets. Oh, yay. So, but I hope not. I hope not. Obviously, I pray that doesn't happen. I feel like I'm in a good place, but you can never anticipate. But I really do think, and we've already started to see it, where criminal gangs, these different groups that are coming across the border they've already been caught bringing across lots of munitions, lots of fireworks, all right, explosives, and all kind of crazy stuff. They've already been caught doing that on a fairly significant level, and don't think that they haven't already supplied a lot of areas with a lot of this stuff. So we know we've had a lot of illegal aliens have come in. That was part of the last 4 years. We tried to bring attention to that. We tried to stop that to no avail because we had the deep state that was really working a lot of the stuff. So they're in place. They're in place. Their position supplied. They have their marching orders, what they're going to do, how they're going to act, where they're going to go. And I would say that they probably attack police stations, hospitals, and then once they have control of those, or they've taken those down, they'll start to move within the city or the residential areas, and they'll go house to house, right? So they've already done that in certain areas. I saw a video in LA where gangs were going into millionaire homes, right? So it doesn't matter if you're rich, it doesn't matter if you're poor. These gangs are going to cause a lot of problems, right? Some of them are very, very well trained. So think about me, Navy SEAL with all my background. Some of these groups are probably trained up to maybe even beyond my level, guys, right? So and they work together, and they will devastate areas. They will devastate areas, and there will be people that will not want to come and get them, so they will be able to move freely and continue their activities. All right, so it's on, and we saw in a casket scene where Charlie Kirk's wife came in. She was mourning, and her hands were on those hands, whatever they were, right? And she had those rings, and they had G and O, go. It's go time, right? It's go time, guys. So shit is about to hit the fan, I believe. All right. So, I mean, we've talked about it. You should be ready at this point. We've talked about this for years. It's not anything new. It happens. But I think we're reaching that point, right? Now, I think there was some activities that maybe foiled what happened. A lot of people don't agree. They think that, people are trying to make this work. I've even seen psychics that have come in and said this, and that. And I'm like, your psychic strength not so good. All right. So I see a lot of stuff going on out there. People trying to make this fit. Even some of these people that are claimed to be psychics. I don't know, but there's an idea that I have that because that didn't go down the way it was intended, right? Maybe it got hijacked, and there's consequences for that, or they plan a consequence for that. And one of those was going to be that incinerator device, and then more of that. But because the incinerator device didn't go off, evidently they were able to track that. Now, one of the reasons why they haven't actually talked about it or put it that much in the news is because there's probably, and I said this right from the beginning, whoever's involved in this, it's not one dude, not one patsy, and here's his furry friend, right? His friend is like not trans, is furry. They believe they're animal. All right, whatever. All right, so they're a furry, And so things are getting a little crazy there. There's a little cray-cray going on, of course. So there's a big, yes, Lenny, there's a big machine behind all this. And some people say, that from that one area within the Middle East where, there's been conflict, there's that group is fomenting some problems. Kazarian, the KZ guys, KM, Kazarian Mafia, right? So Kazarian Mafia people have infiltrated. They're very powerful, very strong. Charlie Kirk said he was concerned. Some people have said President Trump is concerned. I don't know about that, but we'll see. I think he's not concerned. That's my thoughts. I think he plays along. And why would you play along? So that you can get more of them, so you can trap more of them. So one of the reasons why I think maybe they didn't let on that they had, maybe stopped out that incendiary device. Maybe it got stopped out because they were tracking those guys. I would like that, right? I would say, bravo, good job. But maybe it was just the thing just didn't go off. But how do they track it back to who put it on there? And then they raided the house. And they were ready to raid that house, I guess, pretty quickly after that incendiary device didn't go off. Now, when I was in Iraq and Afghanistan and so forth, basically what they would do is they would have an event, let's say a shooting, where people got shot up, and then you'd have ambulances come, right? So no ambulances came to the shooting event, right? That's very interesting. So ambulances would come, and all these people coming out, they get treating people, and then there'd be car bombs that would go boom and just take out so many people, and families that had come to check on their loved ones, children, and so forth. And then another group would come in, not thinking that if they had car bombs for that group, maybe they got more car bombs. Yeah. So more people would come in, and there would be more car bombs. All right. So they'd have wave after wave of car bombs, wave after wave of people would be killed. So think about that. All right. Now, you guys are in the police force. I know a lot of you guys watch me. Thank you. Thank you for service. You're going to be, I think, very valuable going forward. So we see these attacks in cities, and will police forces go en masse to that incident and leave everybody else hanging? Hello, guys. We have to learn to not put everybody on one incident. We have to start to think bigger picture. All right. So these guys will operate like that. They will cause an incident, and then they will, their gangs or whatever may go in and pilfer, maybe even go house to house like I'm talking about, maybe even start killing people going to house. So you guys have to be really heads up about all of the different things that are coming, that are possible, right? So definitely be heads up to the potential of multiple attacks in multiple cities. So let's say you're in a city, and your neighboring city, small city, is being attacked. So you send all your police force to go help. Don't do that. All right. Maybe send one or two cars or whatever, but you want to start to think bigger picture that they're attacking that town. We need to be heads up. And also you need to be heads up with communicating with everybody, keeping track of people, especially people that aren't in a position to, protect themselves. Right. And some of you are like, well, if they're attacking, I'm not leaving my house. Well, let's say they're attacking and your child is at school. What are you going to do? All right. So bigger picture, guys. All right. So So you have an attack on one side of the town, and the school on the other side of town is left hanging, all right? And they attack that school. So you got to be thinking bigger picture here. So I'm giving you some ideas. I'm giving you some food for thought. You need to really think outside the box going forward. And when something happens that is something you've never thought about, never anticipated, don't freeze up. Just keep moving. Think. Respond and help as much as you can. Right. So that's what we're going to have going forward. Lots of this. I think we're going to see it on a massive scale throughout America. It's not going to happen in just one city. We may see it in one city. We've already seen it in one city. We've already seen it in a couple of cities. We've seen it in LA already. In Washington, D.C., they pretty much squashed that pretty much. But LA is still an ongoing thing. It hasn't stopped, right? It hasn't stopped. Chicago, still ongoing. Chicago was so resistant to President Trump coming in and helping that they put up all kinds of barriers and stuff. So President Trump hasn't sent anybody in yet. Who knows? Maybe he won't. Maybe Chicago will be one of those cities that is, which I believe it will be one of those cities that's completely ruined, right? So get out of the big cities, right? Or stay, it's up to you. Raphael.
Hey, brother. Hi.
How you doing?
Good. Thanks. Where are you at?
So we're in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, good to see you. Hey, that was a good word. And you guys, I'm like listening to you going, nobody anywhere is talking about that very thing. Like, appreciate you saying that, because like just to stop and think about what if scenarios. And that's so important, because I think the law enforcement they're designed for our society. They're not designed for invaders and attackers in a multiple fronts. And I had a woman that I knew for years, and she was at the information booth at Ontario International Airport. I don't know if you're familiar with how that airport's laid out. So they have like 3 large terminals, and they're probably a quarter mile at least from one another. And she said that she was shocked when this happened. She said this wheelchair came in, and this little granny was sitting in the wheelchair, and all the alarms went off from her wheelchair. I guess she had some tech, some stuff for her heart and oxygen tanks and all this stuff. So all this triggered everything. So the alarm went out through the entire complex, every single airport terminal, and all the law enforcement from every terminal, from outside, all came into this one terminal. And even as a grandmother, she was a volunteer for the information booth, and she was going, you guys, like it was wide open, like you just said, across town. The other terminals were left completely unprotected, and she was just amazed. And she said, if it was a bomb, they're all going to get blown up anyway. So it's like there wasn't. I mean, in our the way things we've seen this law enforcement strong support has been great for our civil society, but it works for that. But it's going to be like really a failure in the future, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even Elon Musk, and you had that in the show notes, violence is coming, defend or die. Yeah. Elon Musk.
Mm-hmm.
It's so Elon Musk, remember, was kind of like, offline for quite a while. He and Trump had a falling out. He says, "Oh, I'm going to go create another, a new. It's not going to be Republican. It's not going to be Democrat. It's going to be a new political party, right?"
Right.
I'm like, is that the one? So we're going to do away with all these political parties. We've talked about this. This political party is completely collapsed. We're going to have that one that takes us back to the Republic. Because a Democrat society that we've slipped into. If you look back in time, if you go back to Greece, if you go back to Rome, they went from a republic to a democracy, and that's where they fell. So we're at the point of falling.
Yep.
And we need to go back to a republic status.
Yeah.
So to do that, we need to get away, do away with this this corrupt political class and system that we have, and just create something new. But anyway, so here we have Elon Musk has kind of been on the sidelines for a while, and so once this happened, he's out big again. He's out big. So this is interesting.
So this assassination thing this week, I'm not in the cutting edge of what you're talking about, but just that, one of the things I thought was this indeed, no matter whether it was staged or not, this indeed is a turning point. Absolutely.
Sure.
And like for us who are God's kids, we're like, no, there's just no going back. We're just not going back into this democratic thing. And even Arnold Schwarzenegger, just the other day, came out and said, look, the democracy's at risk. And I had to laugh because I'm like, this deep state potato is like democracy. No. Yeah, right. So democracy is really like a soft communism, Marxism. We've really lived under the 10 planks of the Communist Manifesto in a socialistic way for what, 50 years, Michael?
Yeah.
So like he was like,
that's really the push socialism, which is even worse than democracy, obviously, like the lowest form of leader. There's nothing left. The only thing that's ultimately worse is a dictatorship, and most socialist countries are dictatorships anyway. So you're pretty much at the bottom of the pole as far as like politics and so forth. There is no we the people anymore. Right.
Well, the politicians that America has had are like that. They're like arrogant, dictatorial, authoritarians, but they sort of hide under that curtain, the Wizard of Oz curtain between them and the Dorothys like us in the world. They hide behind the curtain, and that curtain is the guise of the Constitution, which relatively almost doesn't even exist at all, period, anymore. As you've witnessed in like Tina Peters and Granny's cases, those are just kangaroo court process.
So will the real Israel stand up? That's a good one. So we know that there was or we've heard. I'm not going to say we know, but there's talk that Charlie Kirk was offered $150 million to basically go along with the whatever Israel wanted, Netanyahu, whatever they wanted to promote, because they're not getting what they want through other social media platforms, and they know that social media is really the only thing that people listen to anymore. Most people don't listen to the news; they're away from the news.
Totally. Yeah. His following was probably bigger than all the mainstream social medias.
So I looked at the numbers for like CNN, MSNBC, and Fox, and like our show that we're doing right now, the numbers that'll probably watch this show and that watch me on other shows through the week. If I had every hour doing shows, I would blow all of those away combined.
Awesome.
So that's a power of social media.
It is. It's so awesome. That's
right
amazing.
Yeah. It's very, very powerful. So I'm only doing a few shows a day at the most. Normally 2 shows, but sometimes I do 3 or 4. But there's nothing that compares to the information that's coming out. And we're helping a lot of people. There's so many people that are so, I hear from people all the time when I go to events or in online chat. They're very appreciative, the information, that I and Scott McKay and, Nino are putting out, the 3 amigos. It really makes a difference. It helps a lot of people. It helps to keep them calm. Some people are saying if it wasn't for you guys, I don't know what would have done. I would have gone crazy. Who knows? some people said it, we saved their lives because we gave them, the direction, what to do during the COVID scam. So, it is very interesting to see that they're trying to influence people like that with money. And that's not anything new. You look at pretty much all the politicians. I think there's like 150 Congress people that are over in Israel right now, while we're talking, doing tours and getting, probably nice dinners and probably staying in fancy places and getting the red carpet treatment. It's what a travesty.
It is.
All 150 of them should not be allowed to come back.
Right. Yeah. Good word. I think this whole thing, listening to you talk about that with Kirk, personally, I probably would have taken the money, but I'm weak as far as that goes. But no, that's really huge that he, that the whore of Babylon, the idea that she's been like bribing and whoring with money since the Federal Reserve started. It's coming to an end, but this relationship with money in Israel, and I see it even in the prophets, where the little country over there is just taking everything, milking the beast dry, like vast amounts of money, weapons, and stuff like that. And it was under this sort of cover that this is just Israel, and there is no other Israel. And I think that the lid is blowing off the reality that America actually is Israel. And so I was just feeding off of an X post where this post said, is America Israel? And I believe that it is. And I'm not saying that Middle East Israel isn't some of Israel, but in the sons of Jacob, Judah, i.e. Judaism, was only one of the brothers out of the 12. And the adopted ones of Ephraim and Manasseh, Joseph's sons, became Jacob's firstborn. And the migratory movements now are available, that they went west of the Jordan River during the captivity, and they kept going into the Caucasus. And there's even a pass through the Caucasus Range from south to north, where they eventually got chased up into the north on their way to Western Europe. And so it's just a fascinating journey, that this very thing is the thing that's been secreted so that this Middle East country could be called Israel, when actually the house of Jacob migrated to Western Europe and then eventually America. And so it's just incredible. Matter of fact, there's that pass. I think I'll show you the pass. Everybody might want to see it. So let me share.
Let me share real quick before you do that. So I said 150 is actually 250. Approximately 250 U.S. state legislators from all 50 states were invited to attend. 50 states, one Israel was the name of the conference organized by the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs from September 14th to September 18th. So they're there for another day. I say they don't come back ever again. They need to be replaced, and this bullshit really needs to stop.
Yeah. If it's one Israel, then that would mean they would have to admit that America is like 9/10 Israel, and Israel over there is like 1/10, because of that's how the brothers were. And even in the scriptures, it talks about that there's no such thing as one of the brothers being sort of having a controlling interest of the land. And if anything, because Ephraim was the youngest son, and he ended up in several places like England and some of the northern Western European countries, that he is arguably the one who has all the land rights because he was the firstborn. And so basically Yah said, no, that's not how it works. You don't get to go back to the original land and say, it's all mine and nobody else's.
Yeah.
It's the exclusion of all my brothers. You know,
Good
that's
point.
not how it works. So, and I believe that the Middle East, what we call Israel, is actually going to betray America in the not too distant future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they had that red heifer that they sacrificed,
Yeah.
and they said it was basically the test. They were testing it, and it wasn't really perfect. It had one little white hair on it. So
Blemish. Okay.
it was imperfect. I don't think so. I think they've already performed that.
Yeah. And probably good luck trying to reproduce an unblemished red heifer. I'm not sure that's possible anymore. And I personally don't believe that. So I grew up in the teaching that there has to be a rebuilt third temple in Middle East Israel. And I totally disagree. There's nowhere in prophets or scripture that talks anything about needing a third temple, especially because his kids are now the temple. Like his people are the temple. And so what's this about needing?
Well, here we have Esther's daughter. She says, no building the third temple. So there you go. It's not going to happen. So good job. Thanks for standing up.
Abigail. Yeah. Yeah. I don't see it happening either. I think there's so much of it that's just been turned upside down. And I believe America is actually Israel. Let me read this scripture to you again. I'll share it on my screen because I think it's pretty profound. I'll try to make it kind of make sense. This was in Zechariah. Now, Zechariah wrote his book after the captivity complete. And so he wasn't talking about, and I'll show you, he wasn't talking about ancient captivity. He says, I lift up my eyes. So this is Zechariah. And looked, and I saw a man with a measuring line in his hand. And I said, where are you going? And he said to me, to measure Jerusalem, Yerushalayim, the Yah's city of peace, to see what is its width and what is its length. And look, the messenger who was speaking to me was going out, and another messenger was coming in to meet him. So these messengers are probably 24-foot tall angels. So he said to him, run, speak to this young man, saying, Jerusalem is to remain unwalled. And right away I giggled because Jerusalem still has its ancient wall around it. And he's talking about a Jerusalem that is to remain without ever having a wall. And then he describes why. Because of the myriads, that's what this word is, myriads of men and livestock in it. Well, there's no livestock, there's no cattle in Middle East Israel. America has, for a couple centuries now, had the largest cattle largest cattle population on earth in America. So he's talking about America, but I can a little bit further. So for I myself am to her, declares Yah. I'm her protection, basically, and I'm in her midst. So he's basically saying he came to America for his people. And then he says, he's yelling now, and flee from the land of the north, declares Yah, for I have scattered you like the four winds of the heavens, declares Yah. So this is after the scattering. And he's talking about America, but right here, the north, talk about that in a sec. Now he changes and says Zion, that's another name for Jerusalem or Israel, escape, and this is the reality that it's America, you who dwell with the daughter of Babylon. So we were just talking about that a couple of weeks ago, weren't we?
Yeah.
So that right there, each of those verses is triggering, saying there's been no other time in history there's a daughter of Babylon. And America is that. And one of the qualities, if you could call it a quality of Babylon, I'm going to go ahead and come back to you, Michael. But one of the qualities of Babylon is that she is the policeman, the hammer, it's called, but the Hebrew word is she's the police officer of the world. That is so America right there. So that's just one of the characteristics of this daughter of Babylon, that she is the police officer of everyone in the world, and she gets she's in everybody's business all the time. And that's it. And so Israel, or
everybody's business.
yeah, so we're Israel, and we're dwelling in the middle of the daughter of Babylon. So there's two things. It's not just America is Israel. It's America, or the people, God's kids in America are Israel, and they're still living in Babylon, the daughter of Babylon. So it's two things, and I think that might be the mystery.
Yeah, this mystery basically is the Israeli, the children of Abraham, his lineage, all of his seed, basically scattered all over the world.
Yeah.
So they're all over the world. There
Right.
is no one place that they were supposed to go back to. And so this craziness that they had to be set up, that didn't start until like I think the turn of the century, and that's the Rothschilds, and
Yeah.
they were the ones that and the Rockefellers and all, they were the ones that basically got involved in that.
Yeah.
To actually, and I think at one time they were supposed to go to like Africa and start it up there,
Right.
and that didn't work out. And did you talk about this? Where they went?
Not the African thing, no.
Okay. So I must have watched another show, but I remember they were talking. There was like 4 or 5 different places they were supposed to go.
Yeah.
And then eventually they settled on Palestine. And it wasn't like they were going to go there because that's God's choice. That never was, like you're talking about.
Right.
They scattered.
Yeah.
And that's the way it was. So for them to come back and then start that and then push out everybody else, that's the deep state that did that.
That's right. That's right.
Britain and France and United States and probably a couple other countries basically got behind that, Germany, and pushed that.
Yeah.
It wasn't supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like I said, there were supposed to be 5 different places, and they were like, okay, we're going to go there, and it didn't work out because no one wanted them there. And then we'll take it there, and then they forced it into Palestine.
That was massive. They created a war over it and just went and slaughtered them to create the atmosphere. And I really think so. You can tell me what you think about this, but I think they did it for the future purpose of trying to run this future sort of anti-Messiah, sort of God King over mankind out of the ancient city of Jerusalem.
Yeah.
The phony king. Yeah.
The Khazarian mafia right out of, the Middle East.
Right.
And that's what we're looking at right now.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people talk about the influence of, different groups from the Middle East. All right. So we'll kind of talk around this a little bit, and how they've gone into Hollywood, how they've gone into the banking system. But they've done this over and over again throughout history.
Yes.
They've been thrown out. And everybody's like, oh, that they're so maligned, and it's not that spiritual religious group, the Jewish group. It is the Khazarian mafia.
Yeah,
that comes in and screws it up, and they hide under the banner of the Jewish group. And there's a lot of people that are there in Jerusalem now that they support certain factions of this, going on because they've been raised in it, and they're part of that group, I guess, that wants this control over the whole world. They're God's chosen people.
Yeah.
The Bible hasn't said that.
Well, if I don't think they can make that claim.
You're not a biblical expert, but that I'm just asking that question for everybody. But maybe we need to really look at some of this stuff.
Well, at least if the scripture says that God chose Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, those guys, but that's not this one small group of people in the Middle East. Like you just pointed out, they got spread all over the planet, And primarily their drive was into Western Europe and then America. But still, like, Genesis says that Abraham was promised that he'd be the father of many great nations. And I'm like, okay, this little thing in the Middle East, it might be great, but it's not that great, and it's only one. So what happens to the promise if it's God's chosen kids? What happens to all the other ones? Is it just this one? It's not possible. It's all of Abraham's children scattered all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
So you and I could make the same claim, and if we had enough money and television, we, over time, like the narrative from Adolf Hitler's guy, Goebbels says, if you tell a big lie long enough, eventually people will believe it. And so even growing up in the Christian place, we were all taught that those were God's kids, when in reality, we're all God's kids.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is crumbling, and it's really a beautiful thing, because what I'm seeing in the prophets, though, it says that before this trouble hits, like this great trouble that like you're talking about when I popped on, was that the trouble comes before we come to the recognition that this is who we really were. We won't wake up to that until these harder tests come upon us. And I hate it, but man, I'm very grateful that at least, you're talking about it, and we have the ability to consider it and to prepare for it and to think about it. And I don't see anybody else talking about it, Michael, anywhere. So
yeah.
And there's a lot of people, I really care about, like Tucker and all those guys. They're not talking about it at all. So,
well, they kind of went down that road a little bit, but yeah, that group basically comes at them and, screws up their funding and all that kind of stuff. And that's, I think that's what was happening at Charlie Kirk, when he kind of refused to sell out and be controlled,
right.
That $150 million. Then the other donations that he was getting started to dry up.
Right. Okay.
And, was that going to make him, ineffective, or he couldn't do his operations anymore? I can tell you from my experience, when I have been kicked off and things have dried up, I just do something else. It's like, you stay on the truth path. It's like you tell a lie enough times, people believe it. It's the same thing about the truth. You keep telling the truth enough times and people are going to be like, that's the truth. So you just keep doing that. We're truthers. They call us truthers. And I like that. I like that moniker. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. So we keep, on the truth. We keep telling it. God protects us and God provides. Right. So I don't want. And that's because I continue to do God's work and I share the truth. So I think that Charlie Kirk, as long as he was doing that, and he seemed to be doing an exceptional job.
Yeah.
I didn't really follow him, but occasionally I knew about him. I know about a lot of people out there. I don't have time for everybody, but since that moment, last week, where he seemed to be taken off stage, and taken off stage and crazy anomalies, about the shooting. I've gone over a bunch of those, so I'm not going to belabor those here, but people are going to believe what they want to believe. It is what it is. Psychics, I was talking earlier about psychics saying certain things about, how that transpired. I'm like, your psychic stuff is not so good on this. So, and maybe it's good in other things, but a lot of psychics came out and said that Trump would win 2016, and I said right when he came down the escalator, I said he's going to win, and I stayed with that the whole time. And so some people get clouded, and some people try and get that analytical process moving too much into the what's going on. So I think there's going to be some good things that come out of this. So like you talked about, Turning Point. So that was his organization, Turning Point. And that's very interesting because we're at that turning point right now, I believe.
And last week I mean, like that just broke during our show last week, and you had just brought that on.
Yeah.
That since then, the Turning Point USA has had throngs of applications, I understand.
Yeah.
So, and I think we talked about that for just a minute, that this isn't going to stop anything, because we're at this place. You're saying this over and over again, that we are not going back. We're at this place where the turning point is that the wheat and the tares are being separated. And like, nice crib, they used silicone. But we're separated, and we're not ever mixing up again. We're not growing up with weeds in our yard, weeds in our meetings, that kind of thing. We're going to stay the true grain with the light and the truth.
Yeah. So, I mean, I had Leo Zagami on yesterday, and we talked about these different groups, and he talked about how these groups are very easily influenced. And we're talking about some people within the Muslim community, the extremists, I guess, and then we have these people that are kind of being brainwashed within our school systems, right?
Yeah.
And just like he mentioned, there's similarity between what's going on now, and I brought it up too with some of the people that are involved in the shooting, the furry guy, and transgender. There were brown shirts during the German time frame, and they were them. They were useful idiots. They got Hitler into power, and then once he got into power, he vilified them. So a lot of the leadership within the brown shirts were homosexuals, and he basically executed them. And he got away with it because people were, they're homosexual, you execute. Okay. So I think that's one of the things that's going to happen, because we're seeing all these people, LGBTQ, that are, doing all these mass shootings.
Yeah.
See how this is working?
Yeah.
Similar. Useful idiots. So gets them into power, somebody into power. I don't know who that's going to be, but they're definitely trying to get them into power. Now, like I said at the beginning of the show, before you came in, I believe there's going to be mass problems throughout all of our cities, right? Yeah. And that's going to congeal down to a few cities eventually. But in the beginning, we're going to have because we've brought in millions, tens of millions maybe of illegal aliens. We're definitely not getting them out anytime soon. So within those are hidden these terrorist cells.
Yeah.
And Chinese nationals. I just heard from a friend that said he heard from a friend that just got out of the military. He's a senior officer type. He said that their base, at first it was like every week, Chinese were videoing their base, and they had to send somebody out to go get them, and the FBI would come pick them up, whatever, and then somebody else would come like next week, and then they do the same process. He said that every night when he left just recently, they're coming to the base and videoing every night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we definitely have some problems.
Yes.
That are about to happen.
Yes.
And they're going to happen on a massive scale. Now we're all, kind of restrained because of these furry little creatures and the LGBT, because you can't talk about them. You can't talk about these people that are in the Middle East that, are so suppressed and oppressed and so forth. Everybody wants to kill them. And yet they seem to have so much money that they're offering one guy 150 million. But you have to start to look at this. They've infiltrated everywhere.
Yes.
And they have a lot of money.
Yes.
And they're going to cause problems.
Huge. Huge.
Yes, huge problems.
Yeah.
Like Elon Musk is warning. Elon Musk is no dummy. And if Elon Musk is telling you to get ready to fight for your cities, that's pretty much it's go time. Kind of like the rings of Charlie Kirk's wife. She's kissing his hands, right? And she's got go on her ring fingers, or say go. It's go time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's lots of signaling that's going on. We're getting ready for something massive coming. We need to be heads up. But demonstrations around the world for Charlie Kirk. Even in South Korea, they have Charlie Kirk signs. They're walking around with Charlie like days later.
Right.
It was obviously organized very quickly. That's very interesting, right? All around the world.
Yeah.
Millions of people demonstrating.
Yeah.
And so this is a turning point.
It is. Yeah.
Yep.
Globally. And I'm sure, I have little doubts that the sort of the spiritual things we're experiencing and sensing are going on worldwide as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's huge. And like, I'm not super savvy. I want to be, that Navy SEAL want to be. So I'm listening to you. Elon, yeah, that's good. And I know that's going worldwide. But when I listen to you, I'm like, okay, I totally trust you, and I know I see what's coming as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So one assassination attempt, and right after that, a potential mass casualty event.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's coming next?
I don't expect it to slow down for sure.
No. Yeah. So that's just two guys,
right?
Two guys that got here illegally, and how did they get all that bomb making equipment?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Right.
Two guys that came to this country illegally. Yeah, they just had a pot of money, and they had all these contacts, and they were able to get all these supplies and get ready to do all these things against America. It just happened. Right? Yeah. It just happened. We shouldn't. Mike, please don't go against the illegal aliens. They're we have to support them. No, we have to get them out of our country as fast as we can, especially the ones that are going to try and do damage to our country and kill and maim. We're going to see innocent children die, and that's really going to piss some people off.
Yes. Well, I think
we've already been seeing that.
Yeah. For how long?
Yeah.
But I really feel like in the real true sense of the word, like this assassination thing is definitely really pissing people off. And like you've been saying, and Elon says, okay, you defend yourself or you die. So I'm going to have Michael defend me, and see how that works out for them. But no, I really, and for us, like in California, you got to have all these certificates, and you got to get your forehead stamped to be able to open carry. I'm sort of the opinion now, just open carry or concealed carry, whatever. Because of how I feel about how I have learned to manage myself in this courtroom garbage, the charges aren't going to last long anyway. You got to have so if you guys feel afraid when you go out, carry. I guess that's what I'm saying. And that's not legal advice. That's just that's practical.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
in Texas, it's you can open carry. Scott McKay, everywhere he goes, he open carries.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've seen him ride around his motorcycle open carry. It's pretty cool looking. But you have to get concealed carry license to open carry. I think that's kind of smart, because you have to show that you have an understanding of a weapon,
right?
The legal ramifications of different things that you might do with a weapon that could get you in trouble. Like you don't take your weapon out if somebody's giving you a hard time at a bar. You don't pull out your weapon and go, "You want some of this?" You're going to get in trouble with that.
Right? Yeah, that's not what we're talking about. Yeah.
Cowboy time. Yeah. So that's funny, because I just went to, I was in Fort Worth. Scott McKay took us to this one area in Fort Worth where they still do cattle drives. So this one town still has cobblestone roads, and
Wow.
old buildings from the 1800s, and bars and all that kind of stuff where they used to do cowboy shootouts, all kind of crazy stuff. But they'll run 1,000 cattle through the streets like the old days.
No way.
Oh yeah. And
Oh.
people get up, line the streets, and they're in the bars, and they're like, drinking and having a good time. Wow, what a great place. And we went down there, had some great steaks. Oh my God, Texas steaks, great beef. All right. But yeah, I mean, that's Americana right there.
Yeah, yeah.
Fort Worth, still American, you know.
Right.
You look at Dallas, you look at Houston, you look at Aspen, they're going to shit. We got these people that are coming in that are really, transforming some of these cities. So cities like that will probably have problems, unfortunately. And the good people will have to come in and clean that shit up.
And so, I probably, listening to you, I'm like, I think most county sheriffs are going to give away permits if you have a pretty clean record. Just go get one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, know your sheriff, know your town, everything.
Yeah.
Now Scott was telling me a story where, and I was telling people back when they were having the George Floyd riots. Right. I was informing people, okay, your area is going to get hot, because I was getting intel. People were calling me, contacting me, said, hey, can you put it out that we're going to have some problems? So Aspen was one of the places that I got that was going to have some problems.
Wow.
They're trying to do it very low key.
Yeah.
I was putting it out. So Scott was telling me how they showed up busloads of Antifa, BLM, and the Cowboys were waiting for them. So the Cowboys skirted through the police lines. The police just stood back, and the Cowboys went to town and put all those knuckleheads bleeding and broken up back in those buses, and they drove away.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Love it.
That's what we're going to have to do going forward.
Yeah. They did something similar out here, and the sheriffs were right there next to the Cowboys. Kind of, it's nothing like Texas, but Yucaipa is a cowboy country.
Yeah, yeah.
And so they brought a couple Antifa buses in for some event, and the Cowboys showed up with ARs, and the sheriffs just were part of it. They just watched, and they chased them back out of town in their really, really nice buses. So somebody was paying for that. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Well, like Kissinger said once, he goes, today people will rebel if we have to bring troops into the streets. In the future, they'll beg us. And so that's what they're trying to set up, so that we're like begging them because they've created this whole mess.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's not looking good. But in some places I think it will be, like you have towns like that where people are going to work together and just clean it up. It's not going to go very far. Drive it out of town. They'll go back to the big cities, and the big cities will welcome them. And we'll see how that works out for them. But it's crazy what's going to happen coming forward.
Well, thanks for your warnings. Appreciate you.
Oh yeah, definitely. And so you got a couple of other things in here where sudden and unexpected infant cardiac tumors.
Yeah, this is huge. Back to our friend, Dr. McCullough. And so he just issued this, top cardiologist. Can you see the screen okay? Issues alert as infant heart tumors found loaded with vaccine spike protein.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so this is like what's going on. And you and I have been talking about this forever, that I contend that there is no childhood diseases essentially. And all of these immune function problems and all of these cancers and autism spectrum, it's all vaccine derivatives, all created by the pharma industry to kill our kids. And, it's like, look at that beautiful little child. So I contend that the spike protein really is not a product. It's a result. And the result is from like the number one thing and I'll be preaching this forever, and that's the biofilm, because that's the delivery tool. Now I'm absolutely convinced, because no one can see it. There's no doctors that I'm seeing that are finding it anywhere ever. And that's the delivery thing. We've tested it hundreds of times in the clinic, and also now with our body scans online. So the delivery is the biofilm in the juice. And of course, there's different toxins like the graphene in batches. There's going to be the snake venom in batches. There's going to be plasmids in batches, and super toxins and heavy metals and things like that. But the carrier is going to be the biofilm, because that can get it into tissue that won't otherwise accept. So the cell and the DNA are extremely intelligent. And all the movies that we see about virus, that's not how it works. Oh, your cell just received this spike protein and then it reproduced itself. We've been over that. There's no really such thing as virus. So its delivery is bacteria, which the cell is familiar with, or the delivery is a heavy metal, which might look like a mineral. The delivery is a DNA fragment that might look like a protein or a fatty acid. The cell is familiar with receiving that as well. So that's the delivery. Mm-hmm. And so this is incredible that infants are now having tumors found in their heart. And I'm like, this is incredible. Mm-hmm. So this is part of, I'm going to come back to you now. This is part of that turning point where the truther community, God's kids, are revealing the truth. And in that, the darkness, the cockroaches want to run, or they want to kill you. So this is part of the turning point, is we're not doing this anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the way it was when I was growing up too. There was almost every pickup truck had a rack with shotguns, and that was a status symbol. It was like, wow, look, he's got some good guns. Like, so I mean, everybody. I grew up in Columbia, South Carolina. It's like every pickup truck had pretty much gun racks in them. Yeah. And one of the reasons why is because you go along the side of the road in the mornings, you see deer. People like pull over and get a deer, throw it in the back, and go clean it, and finish up going to work or whatever. But that's kind of the way things were back then. But you don't see that. I haven't seen gun racks in a long time.
No, maybe in Arizona, Texas, stuff like that, but the Ozarks, places like that. But yeah.
Yep, I was just in Texas. I didn't see one, but I mean, maybe out in the backcountry.
Yeah, and your comment just made me think of something funny. Beverly Hillbillies, Granny, she used to shoot the squirrels off the highway and scrape them up, and that was stew for the dinner.
Oh yeah. I knew a guy in Colorado that could skin a deer so fast. It was amazing. He'd get roadkill and like skin them, and then stake it out, and he had all kind of skins. It was pretty amazing.
Wow.
He ended up going to Africa. He was in Africa for several years, tracking and all kind of stuff.
That's a lost talent.
Yeah, tracking. Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yep.
My son's pretty good at that stuff here too, butchering, and he's out in the forest in Arizona where there's elk and just all kinds of wildlife. Incredible.
Yep. Amazing. So so we talked about why dentists can't find any biofilms. Now there's something you have in there, Carriers of the Plague. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so the vaccine and the antibiotics are the plagues. So let me tell you a story, just a case this week. And the reason I say that, because doctors and dentists can't find the biofilm, probably 90+% of the population carries it now. And then the biofilm migrates, can mutate, and can rapidly change into what's called acute infection, literally in hours. So we had this really cool young guy. We body scanned him. He presented with abscess out of his face. He had pus leaking out of little pockets of abscess in his face, extremely painful. He had some lumps in his neck and lumps under his armpit on one side of his body. And this was a vet. And so I was like precious to me because like really a cool kid. And he's just miserable. And with tears in his eyes, he says, you know, if it weren't for my mom, I really feel like I don't want to live anymore. And he said the VA, you know, they put him in therapy. They tell him it's a fatty cyst or it's just calcified and things like that. And I said, no, it's a biofilm. So we found this massively infected tooth. And of course, he, you know, ran off to the dentist, emergency like surgery, and they extracted, and it's full of pus down in the root area. And of course, we get him on nutrients right out of the store, like we do all the time. And all of these cysts were abscesses from that one tooth that were going through his lymph system, trying to escape. And they were coming out in his skin, just extreme pain, like so painful that he was then, Michael, on meth to try to deal with the pain.
Oh, no.
So there's this vicious circle. And then when he goes back to the doctors, because he's in agonizing pain and shaking with tears in his eyes, he can only talk because he's on these painkillers, meth. They're like, you're just a drug addict. You're drinking. Just, you know, stay away from us. And it was just so fantastic to be able to use the quantum forensics and just get right to the core of what's wrong in like 5 minutes. After, you know, miles and miles of tests that medicine cannot find, dentists cannot find. And I really believe that the quantum, the forensics with the oral scans and the body scans is the medicine of the next millennium, because it's so quick, it's so accurate, it's so easy to be able to find bacterial biofilms, like instantaneous. Last week, I told you about a woman was married to the dentist who couldn't find the biofilms in her mouth. And then, so we sent him to her husband, the dentist, and he found the fractures that he couldn't see without. So when we send a tooth in, we're like, if you want to try to find it, try to find it. So they'll get out their lights and their magnifying glasses and their CAT scans and stuff. And he found 2 of them. And but otherwise, no. And that woman, so this is, to me, this is like heartbreaking, because she suffered with kind of a rare form of bone cancer. And so the whole family went through this, endured this suffering, this pain. She chose chemo, radiation, things like that. And to discover now that all of it was because of a couple of teeth, and just incredible. So it's very beautiful to be able to save people's lives every day that way. And I have no doubts that, like, even these babies that have tumors, cardiac tumors, that we're going to be able to help them as well. Very exciting. So.
Yeah, and the intuitive ultra clay you're recommending daily. Yeah,
thank you for bringing that up. I want to talk about that just a minute. So the ultra clay, we're using that a lot on these really sick patients, because it goes into the gut, goes then from there into the humors, which is kind of where all the fluids are, right around the cell and stuff. But really largely in the gut, it's going to grab endotoxins, poisons from biofilm, mold. A lot of us have candida. Some of us are aware of it. Some of us aren't. We carry mold and candida, even in the mouth and the teeth. But the clays are beautiful for grabbing that stuff before it gets resorbed or absorbed into the body, and then having the liver and the heart have to try to cope with it in the blood. So like even the toxins from this child that has these spike proteins and toxins in from the vaccine, it's going to be because of the polarity or the charges, it's going to have a high affinity for anything toxic. And so we use it for everything. And so with a lot of programs where there's biofilm, we know there's candida, parasites, we dump this stuff in 5, 6 times a day in higher doses. Minimum of the 1/8 teaspoon, even up to a 1/4 teaspoon several times a day. And then there's a video below that shows that we use it to clean all our food, and it does the same thing to the food. It will carry out all the pesticides, any hormones that they're putting in the food or water, any medications that are in the food or water, the spray from chemtrails. So it's going to grab onto all that stuff so you're not eating it. So that's a big one for me because we use the bejesus out of it everywhere. It's such a beautiful product. You can take a head of lettuce, you can take a steak, and when you soak it in the clay, it will test coherent, which means the hormones are gone, the toxins are gone, and then you can feel comfortable by eating it. It's safely. So don't feed your babies regular food, even baby food, you guys. You can put a little tiny pinch in baby food. That's how gentle it is. Very gentle, very thorough cleanse. We use it in our foods. When we soak our produce and soak our meat, we use it with a little bit of intuitive oceans, like maybe a teaspoon in the water, and that will remineralize, recharge, and also chase out, realigns the electron shuffle in a head of lettuce or a zucchini or whatever, and chases out toxins into the cleansing water. So yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Fantastic.
You guys who are in the oral scans, or potentially if you have any oral health issues, you got some receding gums, take 1/8 teaspoon of that, put it in a teaspoon of honey, and rub it in around your teeth. And if you know you have an abscess or an infected tooth, rub it in around that tooth. Yeah, beautiful.
Yep, very good. So yeah, those videos Raphael's talking about are down in the description box. They're always there on our Monday show, so you can always come back and check those out.
Right.
Very good insights, and everybody should be doing them. Everybody should be using that stuff, especially now. So I see a lot more people wearing masks. I've been traveling a little bit, last week or so.
Yeah.
People are going back into the mask. I hear people are getting boosters, and it's just still a lot of people haven't learned. So I don't know how we're going to work, how we're going to do going forward. It's very frustrating. Very
sad. They're going to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking to see these babies that are affected this way, and even by shedding. But the turning point is we're learning, but we've learned the hard way but we're not going back. So
yeah.
We gotta, protecting our health is just as essential as what you talked about and what Elon just brought up, to protecting ourselves and taking care of our health and taking care of one another. It's so critical. And I have a thought, because I had a question this week about, a lot of times in the oral scans, we're showing like an infected tooth or an infected root, a root canal or a crown or whatever. We're showing like 20 bottles of it in Tuistat. And so I just want to clarify that when we use, like we load in bottles to get coherence, it's a measuring tool for us to see how devastating the infection is. So let me give you a quick example. So let's say I had a gut infection or a lung infection. The dose might be 18 capsules. That would be kind of a high dose. Might be 20 capsules of Intuistat. So when we show in the report, when we show that there's like 20 bottles, which would be like 1,200, 1,400, 1,800 capsules, we're only doing that in the report to show the level of infection in that one tooth. We're not showing that so that you feel like you have to take that many capsules. That's not what it's for at all. It's just to show the level of infection in that tooth. And then we would give you a dose that would be more in line with what would be reasonable, 10, 12, 14 capsules a day, but not 1,800. So I just want to clarify that because I've heard that this week. I had a couple questions. And so I hope that helps for you guys. And you can always email the email there's an email called contact@oralscans.com. And so if you have any of the oral scans questions that might have missed, I heard this one through the grapevine, so I wanted to address it because it came from a listener somewhere out in the ether. So that's how we do that. We just use them as a device to find the level of infection inside the tooth. We do the same thing inside the body, but we never see that level of infection. I don't think I've ever seen an infection so bad that it's even more than 20 or 30 capsules a day. So that would be a significant infection to a kidney or a bladder or a pneumonia or TB or something like that, but not 1,800. But it does show the level of infection that would be in a tooth. And so if you have just one tooth, one tooth could kill you. I've seen it many times. And I've even heard people talk about it. They said, oh yeah, my nephew, like young kids, 20, 25-year-old. Yeah, they just died at the dentist's office from an infected tooth. Unbelievable.
Wow.
We don't hear about that. Dentists don't talk about that, how many times that happens. Yeah. My son was a EMT firefighter, and he goes, Dad, I'm not going to the dentist, but so I don't want to scare anybody, but it happens. That's the point. And because of these infections, and we just don't want it. We can stop it now. They can't see a biofilm. We can. So,
yep.
Yeah.
And definitely want to be on the, everyone should have Intuistat. So it's a great one. It's, supports whole body immunity, cellular and whole body cleansing, enhances gut microbiome. It's basically got wild bear, garlic.
Yep.
It's cleansing and supports against a host of bugs and heavy metals. Great for cardiovascular immune support. So it's just pretty cheap. It's like just about $1 a day, a little bit more than $1 a day to take the Intuistat. And if you do get infections, you just double down, multi-dose on it, and it's going to clear it up.
Yep.
Very, very amazing stuff.
Whenever I've traveled.
Yep. If you can't afford anything, that's the one you should have, but definitely want to get on some of those other products we've been talking about.
Yeah.
The Ultra Cleanse clays are, phenomenal.
And we're having a special on that too. Buy 2 and get a honey for free.
Honey.
So you don't have to order the honey. If you order 2 of the clays, they're automatically going to drop the honey in your order. Yeah, my favorite.
Nice.
So if you have any oral issues, then you can start using it that way right away.
Yeah, really.
Beautiful.
All right, sir. Great show as always. Appreciate your insights, and a lot of people enjoy this information. The products are doing really well. People are loving it. So thanks.
Thank you. I'm very grateful for you and your work, and in my prayers, because I know it's, like that just hit our hearts this last week with that assassination.
Yeah.
And I know you're at the tip of the spear too, your whole life, and you're doing it again now. So appreciate you, and you're in my thoughts always in prayers.
Yeah. And that's crazy. We were on 10 minutes after it happened, and we talked about it on the show, and crazy stuff. All right, guys.
Have a great week.
Have a great evening, and we'll see you guys next time.
All right. Blessings.